Good morning, good afternoon, good evening for all of us around the globe. I am Audri Scott Williams, often referred to as Mama Audrey. And every year for the last 25 years, I've channeled with the grandmothers for a reading for the year. Now, of course, throughout the year, we are channeling consistently to get updates on what's happening in our environment, in the earth. And so today I am honored to have the opportunity to share with you the reading for 11/11/2024 that will extend into the end of February and probably beyond by the time we are journeying closer and closer to February. So I would like to take this time to invite you to relax and to listen to the channel 11/11/2024. Good morning. 11/11/2024 is the beginning of a new world, the beginning of a new possibility. And I'd like to share a quote with you before the grandmothers speak, and that quote is from Marimba Ani, who says that relationship between the human and the divine, the heavenly and the earthly spheres, is one of interdependence. The grandmothers of the four directions. There is an energetic portal opening that amplifies the energy on Mother Earth, and it's allowing individuals to access fields of energy or consciousness that transcends normalcy, resulting in an increase in the collective consciousness of those who have been consistent in pursuing opportunities to grow spiritually. This is referred to as a shift in consciousness for the greater good of humanity and Mother Earth. You must be clear regarding your commitment to evolve if you are to access the opportunity this time allows. Embracing your spiritual practice is key, as is including practices and activities that uplift and support you so that you can feel into this energetic opening and access that opportunity. When portals such as this when they open, it is important to note that just as there is an amplification of consciousness for the good, there can also be a parallel opening of energy that operates in the negative field, where greed and domination and disregard for the greater good for life happens. This collective body seeks to empower itself and takes what it desires, often at the expense of life, the expense of the earth, and the expense of the resources that sustain life on this earth. This energetic portal leads to distraction, destruction, and chaos. So it's important that you know your truth and live your truth. Your spiritual practices fortify you as you are shifting and adjusting to this energetic uplift opportunity. And there is also the in-between field that we refer to as energy that is void of attachment to either of the above. This is particularly significant because it seeks to express as the blue ray. And as we refer to this energy, it is what seeks to protect the earth by protecting and defending the earth and its inhabitants to ensure the survival and ability of the earth to thrive. Not just to be present, but to thrive. And as the earth thrives, so will its inhabitants. So the blue ray energy, therefore, is what seeks to sustain an equilibrium that enables the planet to thrive. You may call this field the equalizer. It is also known as both feminine and masculine. The dual nature allows for creation, protecting and securing what brings harmony and balance to the planet. That's so important. You know, we're used to the yin and the yang, but what about that in-between space? That's a powerful space where the blue ray is anchoring itself. So there are those who feel the earth is so vulnerable that we could be facing a cataclysmic event that could destroy the earth and all living beings. Rest assured, the earth will always right herself. However, at what cost? And that's our concern. The earth is not going to be totally destroyed ever by anyone, but it will be damaged by those who are seeking the fracking and the burning of the rainforests for wood, for production purposes, for greed of all kinds, and for wars, and even the rumors of wars, that alignment of energy. So the earth in that regard appears to be potentially potentially harmed, potentially devastated, maybe even destroyed. But rest assured, the earth will always right herself, always right herself. However, the cost may be the impact of the shaking, so to speak. I think it is the Hopi who say the shaking of the earth that will eliminate those that no longer are in service to the earth, those who must be let go so that the earth itself can renew itself and rebirth humanity. The opportunity now is to restore the balance. This is the imperative challenge that all who are called must address. This will require that even in our personal lives, we find balance. And that balance must be restored before the global task can be effected. In other words, if you're going to be a part of the healing of the earth, of the mending of what needs to be mended, the healing of what needs to be healed, then you must be in a position where you yourself are experiencing that same opportunity for renewal and uplift. The grandmothers say that if you're calling, not just that internal calling, but calling out to others, you must choose to be engaged. You must choose to act. Because if you don't, shame on you. You see, when you assume a position and you receive your calling and you don't respond to that calling, that can be more detrimental to you than anything else. So choose wisely. It is our prayer that this channel reaches far and wide so people can understand that there is an energetic opportunity that we call the 11-11-2024 alignment. The energetic potential enables an energetic and physical renewal that allows for an undoing of the sleeping brain. The sleeping brain. means that that brain is not activated. It's not stimulated. And so we call it the sleeping brain. It's time to undo that. It's time to wake up. It is now time to wake up. Time to see the world through the new lenses that we have prepared and laid before you. You live on a planet traveling through the universe that contains all you need to thrive and to survive, yet there are those who choose to extract the life out of the mother, out of Mother Earth. The grandmothers here are called to intervene at this time to protect the earth by providing you with the wisdom to effect a shift in your consciousness, a restraint that will enable you to be interconnected, that will enable the interconnected points around the planet to align in such a way that an evolutionary leap becomes inevitable. That's the time that we're in now, and we must recognize this time. November 11, 2024, the blue ray appears in all of its splendor to initiate the healing and to uplift the energetic field that supports Mother Earth. And there are 3 stages. 1, upholding spiritual awareness and practices to support opportunities for the healing of the earth and all living beings. It is critical to recognize extreme suffering of human beings in this energy. From now through the spring of 2025, there will be a series of events that will create potential great shifts out of necessity for those who are suffering and struggling to survive. Number 2, balancing those things that no longer serve us by offering alternatives to sustainability and thrivability for the earth and humanity, requiring a state of consciousness that transcends what was to envision and implement sustainable strategies for a renewal of our collective humanity as stewards of the earth. And number 3, infusing the earth with love. Hear me now. Infusing the earth with love and collaborative strategies for effecting healing on the planet and for all who are suffering, especially suffering through this time from greed of others and senselessness and selfishness, selfish actions to sustain a sense of power over. We must rid ourselves of that. We must heal from that. That is key to the sustainability of life on this planet. Mother Earth will not be destroyed. Rest assured, Mother Earth will not be destroyed as the energy begins to align itself with the power of unity, love, and sustainability. The bottom line of what is shifting, what is changing, what is growing, and what must go is spiritual awareness, love of the earth and all of life, living into the greatest potential that you are, not only for yourself, for your families, your communities, and for Mother Earth. The awakening of the people in the energy of the blue ray will call forward the change that is necessary. We have entered a zone that is new for us because anything that happens on the earth is happening to all of us as well. We, the grandmothers of the 4 directions, are the defenders of the earth and all life forms on the earth. We are seeking the mighty few who will stand with us to heal and transform our planet and our communities by embracing the energy of this blue ray opportunity. We send you love, and we invite you to see beyond the appearance, doomsday potentials. You are a powerful, mighty few. Rather than resist, create allowing spaces around you. It is only through that allowing space that you can discern the truth. It will guide you to divine right action to move this world forward with love. Move this world forward with love. And so it is. Well, we're back. And I hope you found in that message something that resonates in you, that uplifts you, and that gives you a greater sense of the possibilities of who we are as a collective body on this planet. I'd like to take a moment now and invite Makua Ray to join us. Makua, it's so good to have you in studio. And why don't you introduce yourself and then let's have a conversation.
Wonderful. Thank you, Mama Audrey. My name is Makua Ray, and I am based in Tongva Valley, Los Angeles, California, and grateful to be here with you in this sacred space that you've called forward. And thank you to you and the grandmothers of the Four Directions for this opportunity to share.
It's always an honor to have an opportunity to receive the message of the grandmothers for the year coming forward. And it gives a sense of guidance in terms of what we can do, how to anchor myself. That's how I usually feel
Mm.
it. It gives me an opportunity to anchor myself in the love of this world that we live in and in all of life.
Absolutely. I mean, so much in the message just shared is resonating with me. I mean, you mentioned the blue ray energy that's coming forth as in a way, kind of the protective field that the grandmothers hold the space for. And so I received that. I also resonate with that as the Archangel Michaelic energy as well, that blue flaming sword of protection and clarification, just to
Yes,
assist us, who are here in service to the earth and service to the creator, particularly at a time such as this. And one thing in particular, you mentioned the 11/11/2024 alignment, that's what today holds. And as I reflect, I know we spoke maybe 11 days ago, and you were initiating this renewal of bringing forward the messages of the grandmothers. And this being before the election results or any of those other consequential things on the third dimension, clarifying that the grandmothers were, pulling you to, uh, I guess, a greater sense of alignment with them
yes,
so that you could be present to the message that we all are to receive right now in that sense. So
yes,
thank you.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Makua, can you share? You've been working, or working is not the right word, but you've been studying and learning and sharing all about 1111. That has particular significance to you, doesn't it?
Yes, and in fact, all the numbers have a particular resonance, a particular message or expression. So when we look at 1111, we get to observe and receive what it's communicating. And some identify 1111 and 1212, those double numbers, as portals or gateways. And,
Yes.
in recognizing that on 11/1 by the Gregorian notation of November 1st, that's when you initiated this process. And now here we are 11 days into that. So
Mm.
on 11/11, there's a significant emphasis of number And that number is especially resonant for me, given that that is the kin number, the kin frequency of one of my teachers, Dr. Jose Arguelles of Alum Votan, who's no longer on the earth, although his service to the earth continues through the form of the 13 moon calendar and other spiritual tools and technologies that he was responsible for helping ground here on earth. And as I'm listening to the transmission and the message from the grandmothers, it's absolutely resonant and in alignment with the mission that Dr. Arguelles set forth, which was absolute protection of the biosphere, because we find ourselves in a very pivotal phase shift that he referred to as the biosphere noosphere transition. And what is the noosphere? When we hear that word, that's an old word coined over 100 years ago. And that word means basically the mind of Earth, or the thinking layer of Earth. And that's a layer that up to now, to some degree, has been relatively dormant or asleep.
Yes.
So it's interesting that the grandmother's message also includes waking up of the sleeping brain, because literally the action, we could say scientifically, everything that's happening right now is coming to the service and support of stimulating and awakening the brain, the heart brain of Earth. And we're not disconnected from that. We're absolutely intimately, intricately connected with that. And as the grandmothers also illumine, shame on us if we're not honoring our relative spiritual practices or the things that allow us to vibrate higher at this time. Because every time one of us are healed, all of us are healed. There's no separation in that. Anytime any one of us are healed, all of us are healed. So in light of the value of 1111 as a numerical frequency, it's a portal of ascension, ascending beyond the duality myth, ascending into the union of the opposites, because they've always really been one. And so we're being beckoned or called or ushered and supported into a higher expression of what that looks like. And speaking of the spiritual tools, for me, I have, as you mentioned, been studying and applying for over 20 years at this point. I want to say this first. I met you in 1998. I met you, you were receiving and pulling in the channel from the grandmothers at that time that became the Diary of the Now Time Prophecies, the publication.
That's right.
And that was before I got tapped on the third eye by the codes of the Galactic Maya. So I'm identifying the fact that in the order of events in my own timeline, meeting you preceded me getting the decoding of the Galactic Maya and any of that information. So I know when we were praying together with Baba Ras D and Laini Mataka and Salma Yeni together at Malcolm X Park in Washington, D.C. on those cold Sunday winter mornings, we were aligning ourselves in advance of the alignment we're sitting in right now. We were making ourselves available to the grandmothers and all of those protectors of Gaia, protectors of Arya, Mother Earth. We were aligning ourselves to be of service and be stewards in that way. And in my path, one of the tools that came to me through synchronicity was the 13 moon 28-day calendar, because that serves to shift us at the level of the sleeping brain. There's no way a person can engage in the natural time calendar frequency and not break out of the monotony and the chaos of the Gregorian calendar. We also have to come to accept that the Gregorian calendar is that last bastion, if you will, of the old consciousness. It's at this point on its last legs in terms of holding together this illusion. The fact is, though, it's still insidious. It's in everything. And the only solution is to literally extract ourselves from it. So I wanted to share today's code, if I could, because it's perfectly synchronizes with the message. And today we're in what's called the electric moon. This is the fourth moon of the 13 moon calendar year. Just a little background for people who are not familiar with this. This calendar is composed, it's considered basically a lunar, solar, galactic calendar. And it's intended to help realign us with nature's cycles and rhythm, okay? Because as the traditional Maya and other cultures of our ancient ancestry have long understood, there's a biorhythm And our task is to get into alignment with that biorhythm, to keep that alignment, to be in service and stewardship of the sacred earth, the manifestation of God, if you will, and the provider of everything we need and require, right? So why wouldn't we be seeking to do this? The ancients know this. For 442 plus years, we've been forcibly disconnected from this by the institution of the Gregorian calendar. And why is that? Because calendars program the mind. And so we've been programmed by a calendar that actually has no regard for the natural earth, and in fact is erratic and inconsistent in terms of its pattern or its flow or its frequency, you might say. So this calendar, as you can see, is an even count of 7 times 4, just like your month of February in the Gregorian calendar. Why is February the only month with 28 even days? I don't know. There's a reason, because again, we've been deliberately disconnected. So what we're doing now is we're introducing you perhaps to something to assist you in actually taking control of where your consciousness is relative to the timing and these timelines, because there's an interesting transition, some might also call it a bifurcation or separation, happening. And as that's happening, you want to definitely anchor yourself on the frequency that the earth is taking on, the frequency it's shifting into. As you mentioned in the reading, earth is going to be fine. Earth is going to be here, though it will be damaged. The damage is real, though earth is going to endure. It has always endured. It will continue to endure. We want to ensure that we're actually aligning ourselves in right relationship with Earth, even as a frequency of consciousness. So what we can look at in this calendar is today is coded, as you can see, the line is extending from something called kin 127. That's the kin factor for today. The kin is a marker for 260 different signatures. And every single person is born with one of these signatures that expresses the quality of their purpose. Every person, every day, every event is coded with a purpose from the higher perspective, the higher worlds, you might say. And in this case of today 1111 in the Gregorian calendar, because again, all number is sacred, so it doesn't matter really Gregorian or any other frequency. 1111 aligns with the code of kin 127. You mentioned the blue ray. So the frequency of today, specifically on the 25th day of the 4th month, also coincides with, as you can see in this diagram, this is the other calendar that connects with the 13 moon calendar. And they synchronize every 52 years. It's very important. In so doing, they are literally harmonizing and synchronizing all factors on Earth. The Earth itself, but it's actually a way that the Earth's mind is awakened. It's that noospheric shift, the awakening of the biosphere to noosphere transition. If you look on this,
Makua, let me ask you a question right
mhm,
there.
sure,
As I'm listening to you, what I am um, feeling to share, and I wanted you to bring some clarity to it, because I'll just throw it out there and then we'll
sure,
see. One of the things about aligning with the calendar is that it aligns us with the timekeeping of the entire world of creation itself.
yeah,
And so that the 28-day cycle, I mean, you can look on a turtle's back, you can look at certain things in nature, and you can see the cycles of time are consistent with
yes,
that.
yes,
And the other point, and so I wanted to do say that, because once you connect, it's like plugging in a dead battery into a charger.
exactly,
Because once you connect with that, then you also allow yourself to have access to those fibers of energy, the mycelia and other threads, if you will, that are, I call them communication, the wires, like the blood flow, for instance, that just flows throughout, that energy flow, that then
yes,
we're connected. And as we're connected to that energy, it gives us a greater empathy
mm,
for our role as co-creators in this experience we call life.
absolutely. And as you mentioned, the calendars themselves, in this case, the 13 moon calendar, 28 days each moon, is the fertility frequency. That's the human fertility cycle. So, coded into that is the biorhythm of human birth, the fertility cycle every 28 days. When we also look at the image on the screen, what we're looking at is the gestation cycle. That's 260 days. That's the average cycle of human gestation in the womb.
Mhm.
So the codes of these two calendars, I could take it further and say the codes are literally in our human body in the form that we have 13 articulating joints. If we count from our ankles, our knees, our hips, our wrists, elbows, shoulders, and one neck, that's 13 articulating joints that allow us movement. And then we have the 20 fingers and toes for measurement. So encoded into our very being as humans in this incarnation are the codes of nature. As you said, they're also woven into the rhythms and the patterns of the seasons. They're coded into the mycelium, as you mentioned. They're coded into the interconnecting wiring of all life. That,
Yeah.
as rightly said, if we become aware of them and plug back in to that frequency, then we're returning ourselves to that awareness. And so in this
Thank you.
particular diagram, just to give a sense of where we are today, so we saw in the last scene that we were in the fourth month on day 25. And that day, today, 11/11 in the Gregorian calendar, is coded by Kin 127. You'll also notice on this diagram, in that 260-day Zolkin count, we're in the very center column. It's referred to as the mystic column. So we're having a portal day that's further reinforced by being in the literal portal or the mystic column of the gestation cycle. What is that telling us? It's telling us that we're being supported in rebirthing ourselves. We're being supported in coming from the womb in a good way, in a healthy way, and in a way of awareness. And it's helpful at this time with our collective consciousness because so much attention is being focused on, well, a variety of things. But ultimately, much of it is a lower vibration of perception. We are seeing obstacles where there truly are opportunities. And the opportunities are met in us activating our spiritual nature. It's not something that's going to be served up by the political system or the government. They're not going to do our spiritual practice for us. Now, granted, they have a responsibility to providing the basics for humanity to live a good life. That's ideal, right? At the same time, when they don't do that, or don't do what we may expect, we have to already be in a position of awareness where we know the earth is our provider. If we align ourselves in the earth frequency, regardless of decisions made legislatively, earth has something for that. And the grandmothers have something for that. Let's be clear. And they are, as you mentioned as well, at a moment now where they are intervening because things have become so necessary for the intervention. And the intervention is met in some ways by tools like this. This is an intervention tool. This is a tool designed to help return our consciousness to right alignment with Earth. And I want to
And you,
share that. I was just going to share
oh,
one final thing. Each day has a code. So it's a way to activate the energy or the quality of that given signature. Everybody, as I said, has a signature from their day of birth. If you want to decode yourself, go to lawoftime.org and you can see as soon as you go there, decode a birth date. I just want to make sure people can find their own code too. But today's code, Kin 127 Blue Planetary Hand. I want to ask you, Audrey, to actually activate this with your sound vibration.
mm, wow, my sound vibration in terms of this activation is really all about the breath. I believe that in the midst of this energetic field right now, we must breathe in correctly, get the oxygen into our system, and allow that oxygen to mix with everything that's within us. Breath is so important. You know, breath is even considered in some ancient traditions to be fire. And so let's just breathe in the awareness of this day, 11/11/24. Let us breathe in our own signatures and what that means for us, and let's slow down. Let's slow down and be in that space of tremendous opportunity for divine healing and proper placement, proper timing, and proper energetic flow. And so it is.
Well, thank you for that. And may I read the code as it is on
Please.
screen? Sure. And this is the qualitative energetic of today's signature. So if you want to, for those observing this, want to read this to yourself, I certainly recommend that. It just will activate the fourth dimensional or synchronic order quality of today. Kin 127, blue planetary hand. I perfect in order to know, producing healing. I seal the store of accomplishment with the planetary tone of manifestation. I am guided by the power of vision. Thank you.
Mm. Thank you, Makua. Thank you for an opportunity for us to have this conversation, inviting the grandmothers in and sharing and hearing about the calendar and how we can align ourselves more authentically with the flow of nature. And it's just such a perfect time, Makua. I'm so grateful that we had this opportunity. Thank you for all the ways that you've always supported me, supported the work that you do, even when we weren't always at the top of the list in terms of, it took a lot of work to get to where we are right now and have the world tuning in to it. I mean, to have conversations now. We didn't have the same conversations years ago,
Mm.
but you can see through that process that it's magnetic. Once you get involved in understanding time and the calendar of time, you gather this magnetic energy that attracts to you everything you need to have and know to keep going forward in a sane mind
Mm.
as the earth continues to do what it has to do in spite of some of the decisions that we make as a human family. And I do, I remember Makua, Mr. Makua from Hawaii, who used to say, where do you want to be? The head of the heart, choose. And the heart is aligned with the calendar, so the 13 moon calendar. So I thank you. Any last comments you want to make before we complete our journey here?
Well, I just want to say thank you to you for always being a guiding light to myself and many of us out here. You have a lot of children. I consider myself one of your sons. And you
That's
have many,
right.
many children on the spiritual path. We're really all so fortunate to have the space time together right now with our sanity, with the support of our community. And I just also want to acknowledge Karen as well, Mama Karen, for her purpose and in being an archivist of and a chronicler of these channels for 25 years, which is a significant service. And so
Yes,
we
it is.
certainly owe a debt of gratitude to her for her role in that and in many other ways, and to our entire community, because there are many others. Though there are few of us, we feel like a lot because it seems like we're so equipped and the energy is so potent with us. And so,
Absolutely. And Makua, as I travel around the world with indigenous communities, the 13 moon calendar
yeah,
is the primary calendar.
yes,
And although we may feel like we're few, I think we're a mighty few. And I
we are.
also would like to acknowledge Michelle for all the work that she does. Oh my goodness, thank you
Absolutely.
so much for that level of support that you two give each other amplifies our efforts far and beyond what we could do individually. And as you say,
Absolutely.
Karen is always there.
Yeah.
She's got 25 years of channeling information that we've done through the grandmothers. It
Wow.
takes a lot of energy to do that and to hold that and archive that. So I'm very grateful for that as well. So for all of
Absolutely.
you out there
Absolutely.
um, who are embracing this time, don't get hung up on the what you hear in the news so much.
Mm.
Start to cultivate from within. Now, I'm
Yeah.
not saying don't listen. I think we all have to be listening. We all listen and be aware.
Yeah.
But the work is is what you're doing within, what is happening, how you're connecting with the earth, how you're connecting in your own levels of consciousness, and how you can embrace the practices that can move us all forward. So thank you.
Absolutely.
And
And I want to
Lakesh.
invite people to, stay tuned here because this is going to be an ongoing thing, as you mentioned, a weekly offering to really tap in and benefit from these reflections. I think that it's a wonderful thing at this time over the next several months. And there's a lot to offer with that. And I'm hoping also maybe we can invite some of our family to join and actually in the sacred space offer some prayer and some insights and some um, perspective on what they're doing, how they're navigating these times. What are their spiritual practices? How can we
Exactly.
celebrate that more and emphasize that more
Hmm.
together? And others will
Hmm.
come along as well. There are so many of us out here, like you said, who are endeavoring to be of good heart, good mind, and in service. So we want to celebrate that and amplify that as much as we can.
Yes, and you bring up a good point. It's important for us to have the knowledge and the wisdom, but it's also even more important for us to be able to embody it in our day-to-day existence. And that's where community helps us grow in that space. So it is important that we develop the community here. And I'm certainly open and willing and excited about that possibility. Thank you, Makua.
Absolutely. Thank you for everything. I'll sign off now and wish everybody a blessed 1111 portal frequency. Get out there and connect with the earth some and do something creative, something from the heart. Eat some good food that is Aito and uplifting for you, something you enjoy and brings you a good feeling. Just really be in that heart centered space today and every day if possible. Obviously, easier said than done. But moments like this, an opportunity to tune in, will help provide, I think, consistency for that. So be sure to continue to stay tuned to this offering for sure. In Lakesh.
And Lakesh.